Start recording. Call to order Board of Zoning Appeals for Monday, September 11th. I guess first item is to announce that we are expecting loss of internet at any moment, which will cause us to have to suspend the meeting for those that might join online. That's what you probably heard us discussing prior to us officially kicking this off. We have two choices. We can continue this to our next meeting in 2 weeks, or we can try to roll through this, but at the moment we lose that connection, my understanding from legal is we will have to stop at that moment and pick up where we left off. So I guess
So make a motion to the effect that if this for some reason the internet goes down, these matters are immediately continued to the next meeting on September 25th.
So moved by Mr. Moll, second by Mr. King. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, say sign. That motion carries 5-0. So that means we will go forward until, all right. First item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from August 28th, 2023.
Okay, so
motion by Mr. King to approve, second by Mrs. Peters. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. That motion carries 5-0. We have any other additional special requests or continuances beyond what we just discussed?
None from staff.
Okay, so seeing none, we'll move on to findings of fact. BCA 2023-32, use variance for Andrea Nix at 70 East Main Street.
Chairman, in consideration of statutory criteria, I move that we adopt the written findings of fact and presented, incorporating the evidence submitted into the record as our final decision, final action for variance petition number BZA 2023-032.
Motion by Mr. Peters, second by Mr. Moll. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. That motion carries 5-0. Next up is BCA 2023-33, special exception for Neil Sander for 647 Sarah Court.
Mr. Chairman, in consideration of the statutory criteria, I move that we adopt the written findings of fact as presented, incorporating the evidence submitted into the record as our final decision and final action for variance petition number BZA 2023-033.
Second, Mr. Milborn. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. That motion carries 5-0. Next up, no old business. Any old business from the floor? Seeing none, we will move on to new business. First item is BCA 2023-23, which is development standards for 1700 West Smith Valley Road. Petitioner is Donna Smithers on behalf of the Library Park Professional Center. We have a development standard to allow impervious lot coverage to exceed the maximum of 70% by 2% for 72% total. Please be sworn by our secretary.
Do you swear on these perjury? That's what you've done.
And is everything in order?
Yep. Files and notices are in order and in our file.
And I move the minutes with my copy of the comprehensive plan for the record.
And then name and address for the record.
Donna Jo Smithers with North Point Engineering and Surveying, 6125 Southeast Street, Greenwood, Indiana. Indianapolis, Indiana, 46227.
And then I'll need you to write that on the form that should be up there as well. Thank you. All right. And then once you do that, tell us why you're here.
Okay, tonight we are representing Library Park professional offices, and with me tonight is Dr. Hardin and his wife Linda. We are requesting a dimensional or variance. Basically, we are adding some more hard surface to the site. Basically, we're looking to add additional parking. So with this, we needed to obtain a variance to allow us to exceed the 2% requirement, which is 70% of a covered area for the site. We're at 72%. So we are extending that or exceeding that by 2%. This new parking will be very helpful for the site, for Dr. Hardin and the other, all the offices there. So that's the main reason. We went through everything with the city. Everything is good. So if you have any questions, we'll go from there.
Do you have your answers to your statement of reasons? Because we do need to read them into the record. that you
Do
submitted.
you want me to read them?
I will start you and you can give your answers. So number one, the approval will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community because
The proposed project is improving the existing site conditions, or condition of the site. The project will be removing impervious surface, creating additional grass area for the site. In addition, landscaping is proposed for the site, bringing the site up to current standards. Therefore, the proposed improvements will not be impervious to the existing site. It's will not have the injurious or to the public health and safety. Sorry about that.
you're good.
Yeah, I lost my place here, so
All good.
trying to move as quickly as I can.
Sure, I appreciate that. The use and value of the area adjacent to the property, including the variance, will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner because
The proposed landscaping along the western border of the project area will increase the aesthetics of both lots. Therefore, the variance will not adversely affect the adjacent property.
number three, the strict application of the terms of zoning ordinance will result in practical difficulties in the use of the property because
The purpose of the project is to increase available parking for the existing office building. The addition of more grass areas will reduce the area available for parking areas. So,
and then number four, the structure is not regulated
It
under
is
Indiana
not.
Code 8-21-10-3 for hazard navigation. Anything else to add before I ask staff for their comments?
I do not have anything else.
All right, staff, looks like you are in agreement. Anything you want to add there?
Yes, so we did work pretty extensively with Donna. We had multiple meetings. We also worked with White River Fire District that is on this site. We came to an agreement basically on a path forward for them. They're reducing their impervious surface area on the site, adding some green space. We've also asked for a couple of conditions. One of those is to remove the access cut in the southwest corner of the site. They have a few access cuts, and this is one that we believe is a dangerous access to the site that they'll be replacing with green space if the condition is approved by the Board of Zoning Appeals. And we've also asked for an easement in the northwest corner, and that is because to promote future connectivity if the business to their west ever does redevelop. Maybe we'll be able to get rid of a few more of the dangerous curb cuts on the highway. But we have we agree with their statement of reasons, and we have nothing else to add.
Okay. Anything else before I close public hearing? I'll close the public hearing. Mr. Mull?
I'm good.
Mr. Milborn? Mr. King?
Good.
Mrs. Peters?
Good.
One thing I would note, I don't think was clear, is it's currently at 85% impervious surface cover. So they are actually reducing it by 13%. Is that correct?
I think it was 82.
Or 82, yes, my eyes are failing.
Yeah, and I think with part of it, they are adding some of the green space that they're adding is off-site in public right-of-way, but it's meeting the intent of adding green space to the site, so that the numbers get a little tricky when you have them adding green space in the right-of-way along their frontage.
Okay. Appreciate that. I will take a motion to admit all the evidence into the record.
Chairman, I move that we admit all the evidence presented in regard to this matter, including the notices, receipts, maps, photographs, written documents, petitioner's application and attachments, petitioner's detailed statement of reasons, the staff report prepared by the planning department, certified copies of the Unified Development Ordinance and Comprehensive Plan, testimony of the petitioner, city planning staff, and any remonstrators, and all other exhibits presented, be they oral or written, for consideration by this board in regard to this petition, and to include the testimony of those present this evening.
Motion by Mr. Peters, second by Mr. Milborn. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. That motion carries 5-0. Take a motion on the docket itself.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the request with the conditions that an access easement shall be provided along the northern option of the western property line. And the final plans shall substantially conform to the site plan depicted in Exhibit C, specifically including closing off the southwest access drive, installing curbs, and establishing a grass area per the site.
Motion by Mr. King with the two conditions in the staff report, second by Mr. Knoll. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. That motion carries 5-0. Take a motion to direct Corporation Counsel to draft written findings of fact.
Mr. Chairman, have considered statutory criteria, move that we direct the Corporation's Counsel Office to draft written findings of fact regarding the decision on the variance request presented in variance petition number BZA 2023-023. Said findings specifically incorporate the staff report and the evidence submitted as a record for consideration and adoption by the Board of Zoning Appeals as our final decision and final action regarding the position at our next meeting.
Motion by Mr. Knoll, second by Mr. Milborn. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. That motion carries 5-0. You are welcome to proceed. Working with the staff, we'll take final action in 2 weeks.
All right, thank you. Have a great evening.
Next up, I do want to make a quick clarification. The staff report I got was labeled BZA 2022-034 via email. I don't know if the corrected one came out that I missed, but I believe it's actually 2023-034 as it is on.
It is. That was a typo.
Okay.
Everything else in there is correct.
Okay. So just for the record, this is docket BCA 2023-034. Or wait, it's 2023 or 2022?
It should be 2023-034.
-034. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. This is for 21 Patterson Street. Petitioner Scott and Amanda Seifert. All those wishing to present, please stand and be sworn in by our secretary.
Be sworn on Tennessee's perjury. Testimony that's true to the best of your knowledge.
Yes.
Thank you.
And then, is everything in order?
Everything is in order and on file.
Okay. Mr. Foster?
I move to administer by copy of the ordinance to the record.
Okay. And the name and address for the record?
21 or Scott Seifert, 21 Patterson Street, Greenwood, Indiana 46143.
And then I'll ask you to add that to that document as well that's up there so we get it accurate on the record. And while you're doing that, I will note that there are actually two petitions here. One is for the fence height to allow an 8-foot fence in a side rear yard, and the other is for the materials to allow structural elements of a fence to face outward. Mr. Seifert, then tell us additionally why you're here and what you're trying to accomplish.
Well, I'm here for my fence. What am I trying to accomplish? I'm just having privacy. 6-foot privacy fence. For a new driveway, put new fence pickets up on an old existing fence. It's 10 to 12 years old, and I guess the city didn't like it.
Okay.
But it's the same posts that have been there for 10 to 12 years. Okay.
Do you have your answers to the detailed statement of reasons?
Yeah, I think I'm missing a page.
Have them? Okay.
Yes.
Kevin, thank you. It looks like the answers are different for each. So let's start with number 1, to allow the 8-foot fence in a side rear yard. Number 1, the approval will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community because. If you can just read your answer.
It does not affect the community or neighbors in any way. We've never received a complaint regarding our fence, the height, or the distance between the pickets to the ground.
The reason for this, we have to read this into the record. So number 2, the use and value of the area adjacent to the property, including the variance, will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner because.
Our fence has been this way for at least 10 to 12 years. All we did is replace the pickets.
And then number 3, the strict application of the terms of zoning ordinance will result in practical difficulties in the use of the property because.
This was never an issue for the city when we installed it. The fence 10 to 12 years ago, so it should not be an issue now. The fact that we have to pay more money out to the city for something that was built more than 10 years ago seems petty. There's a slight adjustment in the height on the south side of the property due to having a concrete driveway cord. The east side height has never changed.
And number 4, the structure is not regulated under Indiana Code 8-23-10-3 for hazard air navigation. So for variance number 2, to allow the post to face outward, again, the approval will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community because.
It does not affect me in any way, and my neighbors do not have an issue with the fence.
Number 2, the use and value of the area adjacent to the property, including the variance, will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner because.
It only improves the property and surrounding areas, does not negatively affect anyone surrounding the property.
Number 3, the strict application of terms of zoning ordinance will result in practical difficulties in the use of the property because
it will not create difficulties as it does not affect the community and therefore should not be a concern.
And again, it's not regulated under Indiana Code 8-21-10-3 for hazard air navigation. Anything else you would like to add before I ask staff for their comments?
I'm just trying to better my property and upgrade it, make it look better for the community.
Appreciate that, Mr. Chief. All right, Gabe, staff.
First I'll say that the fence does look very nice. Fortunately, it did grow a little bit over the 6 feet it was before. You can see that they did use the same posts, it's just set a little higher up on them. Otherwise, I know we did not give a favorable recommendation for this, as is every fence request I think that's come before you.
Yep, understood. Anything else, Mr. Nelson?
I guess what's triggering it, was a non-conforming fence. There was alterations made to it. It did increase in height. So there was a change that was made at the time, and that's really what triggered this to be looked at. And it's, you know, it was legal non-conforming, but once you affect that or alter it, that's when it becomes something that is a new case that would fall under our new ordinance.
Anything else to add, Mr. Seifert, or to respond to that?
Along my driveway, it's like right at 6 feet. Standing on my concrete, which I had asphalt there before, so it couldn't change too much. If it did change, we brought it up so the fence panels weren't stuck into the ground where they just rot away, like a previous fence. That's it.
Okay. I'll close the public hearing. Mr. Mole?
Scott, how tall is the back? I mean, I guess I'm just curious, like, the height wise, like, because it doesn't look like it's that much bigger. I just didn't know.
So the back of the fence, so if you go around the garage, it starts going down into the drainage ditch or the easement. So there's a 2x12 and then 6-foot panels right on top of that. We poured concrete behind the garage, so it's level now. So if I was to cut that off at 6 feet, well, you'd have an extra. I could cut. It wouldn't be a 6-foot privacy fence. You know, standing on my side of the property. And there's reasons why we've had these fences, but I guess this isn't the time to discuss why.
Your neighbors are. You said your neighbors are fine with it.
Yeah,
I mean, I like that. It looks a nice fence. I mean, I know it backs up to the commercial property, so I feel like that's a little different than the previous.
Do you see the pictures?
Yeah, I pulled up the.
They're taking pictures through the fence panels because it's so dilapidated of my fence.
Yeah, I mean, I can see before and after, so it's. And then I guess the other question for you guys, for the second variance about the outward, is it because he built? Because previously it was built where the studs were on the backside. Is that what?
Yeah, and that's what I think Gabe was referring to, being a legal non-conforming fence before. Since the pickets were all replaced, they should have gone back on the outward side of it instead of on the inside.
The picket should be on.
But they were like that for the last 12 years. How the fence is now.
Right.
Okay.
And then grandfathered in or something.
Those have always been on.
It was grandfathered in that way.
It was.
It shouldn't have been that way. But
I
it's a modified fence.
Yep.
So, yeah, like, yeah, it broke the ground.
I guess I have no more questions right now.
Mr. Milborn?
No.
Mr. King? No. Mrs. Peters?
I would say I go by there today and I measured the new part, and the new part is only 6 feet. That part, I know, it's from the bottom of the new part to the top of the new part. It's just, there are some places where the ground is not, it doesn't meet the ground. So, I mean, I'm not even sure why they're asking for a variance for 8 feet, because even if you had those other few inches below the fence, that wouldn't come up to 8 feet.
Including on here where they have it up on.
Yep, that still would not come up to 8 feet. So I guess I'm a little confused as to why they're asking for 8 feet, but the actual fence part, I measured with my tape measure and it was only 6 feet, so I'm having.
Which side did you measure from? Because we have to go off the lowest part, which is not the concrete.
No, I'm just saying actual wood to wood,
Yeah,
top to
that's what
bottom
they're
of the
saying,
wood,
though, from
yeah.
here
I
to
know.
here is.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But you add that other down there and it's not gonna take
Right,
it
but
8 feet, yeah.
Our code measures from the top of the fence to the ground, whether or not there's a.
I
gap
understand that,
bottom.
but I mean, that's only like at 12 inches below that wood down to the ground, so I was trying to
That's
figure out
just-
where 8 feet came in.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
that was just to put a little buffer there. so
Oh,
I didn't
okay,
have
I was trying to figure out where the
Yeah.
8 foot thing came in, because I couldn't find where any of it would have been 8 feet if you added the concrete to it. It's trying to come up with 8 feet.
And that fence is not, so the front 2 pickets, they're off the ground that much,
Mhm.
because we're getting ready to pour we were getting ready to pour concrete on the side of our house and our driveway.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
So we're in the middle of construction.
Yeah.
And
I understand. But I said, I measured the wood part and that is only 6 feet, so I'm saying and that is not needing any 8 feet need, but anyway, I guess if you give them 8 feet, then it covers any potential. Okay, no, I'm good with anything else.
Yeah, I mean, this fence looks very nice. It's certainly an improvement. I understand, again, as we've had with several of these, understand where the staff is coming from the strict application of what they have to look at. From my perspective, anytime we can get an improvement like this and at least with the height, I mean, it's certainly not an 8 foot fence. The post, I can see where if it's been existing that long, you would have the understanding that that's how it would be, and then go do all that work and then have someone come afterwards would be disheartening. And then did I hear that fence is facing commercial property?
Exactly.
Is that right?
Back here
That's
is commercial.
So that,
Is that,
oh, that's
well,
the open,
yeah,
okay.
that church over there.
Yeah.
So I'm just, from a standpoint of strict application and everything, you know, there is some different circumstances here. I mean, this thing's been this way for 10 years and we've made an improvement here, so that's just my comment. So, all right, can we take a motion to admit all the evidence in the record?
Chairman, I move that we admit all the evidence presented in regard to this matter, including the notices, receipts, maps, photographs, written documents, petitioner's application and attachments, petitioner's detailed statement of reasons, the staff report prepared by the planning department, certified copies of the Unified Development Ordinance and Comprehensive Plan, testimony of the petitioner, city planning staff, and any response statements, and all other exhibits presented, be they oral or written, for consideration by this board in regard to this petition, and to include the testimony of those present this evening.
Motion by Mrs. Peters, second by Mr. Moll. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. That motion carries 5-0. And now I'll take a motion on the ballot itself.
I'll say, Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the request with no conditions on the first request.
Okay. Motion to approve with no conditions by Mr. Moll, second by Mr. Milborn. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. That motion carries 5-0.
Ma'am, too, I'll scratch up.
Yes.
The
That
the
line
staff.
there, that should not
No,
even.
yeah,
no,
I got you.
ever.
Yeah, that's right. Request number 2, to allow the structural elements of the fence to face outward.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve that motion as well.
I have a motion by Mr. Moll to approve and a second by Mrs. Peters, again with no conditions. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. That motion carries 5-0. We'll take a motion to direct the corporation's council to draft their findings of fact.
Mr. Chairman, having considered statutory criteria, I move that we direct the Corporation Counsel's Office to draft written findings of fact regarding our decision on the variance request presented in variance petition number BZA 2023-034. Said findings to specifically incorporate the staff report and the evidence submitted into the record for consideration and adoption by the Board of Zoning Appeals as our final decision and final action regarding this petition at our next meeting.
Motion by Mr. King, second by Mr. Milborn. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. That motion carries 5-0. You are free to proceed. You can work with staff. We will take final action in 2 weeks, but you don't need to wait on that. You are good to go.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Seifert. Any new business from the floor? Seeing none, any announcements?
Made it through, maybe we're word for nothing, so,
There we go. Like when a plan comes together.
there we go. Let's hope, we have the same luck for plan commission.
Hey, we set this bar,
Hustle.
you guys get followers, right?
I'll do my best.
All right, no further announcements. Take a motion to adjourn.
So
We are adjourned. Stop the recording.